Dr. Watson, would you kindly close the door behind you so that we can limit the price of your carelessness to merely hours of work rather than days?
My apologies, Mr. Holmes. I found myself rather taken aback. I saw tidier houses in war-torn Afghanistan. Are those my surgical needles?
I ran out of tacks and the matter required immediate attention.
Was that my supper?
Plainly not, for I was the one who ate it.
I set it aside for this evening.
And for that I am grateful.
Is that my bed?
Watson, since you've proven yourself a master of observation, might I ask you to apply your skills to a more pertinent question? Namely, the whereabouts of today's newspapers. They are the key to everything. The newsboy is usually reliable.
Medically speaking, I often find that the key to everything is good sleep. In a bed. Your papers are here, on the table.
Let us see what the postman brought today. Local gossip, all of it uninteresting. Your order from Barnes' bookshop has arrived, Doctor.
Barnes insists on delivering the books to our door, even though we could easily walk to his shop. That's good service.
Another letter from Werner. I never reply, but they keep coming. I don't see the Strand. Where is it?
Pardon me?
I am on the precipice of uncovering a pattern of crime across London spanning many months and involving many men. A missing paper cannot be a coincidence.
That's preposterous.
My dear fellow, life is infinitely stranger than anything which the mind of man can invent.
Well, life used your newspaper to wipe its posterior, so after that unpleasant discovery this morning, I disposed of it. But in lieu of the Strand, perhaps I can deliver you something equally tantalizing. I have just returned from a patient of mine, Captain Stemwick, who...
No, that will not do. Grab your coat, Dr. Watson. Let us hope nobody has collected the dustbin.
The dustbin is yours for the digging, Mr. Holmes. Don't look at me. If you want the newspaper, you'll have to get your hands dirty.
cactus spine. If it gets in your skin, it's awfully tricky to remove, and when laced with poison, the perfect assassination tool. You were mistaken, Dr. Watson. The paper was indeed dirtied, but not how you implied. It's potting soil. See, Watson? The conspiracy is real. Someone tried to poison me.
Poison? You? That's madness.
Get the Strand. Get your copy of the Strand here. Sorry, Mr. Holmes. I just sold my last paper.
Blast. Then why are you still here?
Boss pays by the hour. No sense in returning early.
You're a bright child. I presume you see everything that goes on around here?
Nothing gets past me, mister.
Then tell me, did you notice anyone suspicious at my door this morning?
Like the man with your newspaper?
Precisely. What do you know?
I know the value of a shilling.
Dr. Watson.
Cool, now I can take the day off.
Did you see what he was up to?
Nah, not really. I saw him approaching your house, but I had a customer. Then there's a loud bang. I ducked down. Not because I was scared, because I wasn't. I had to protect the merchandise. And all I could see was him kneeling at your door.
Which way did he go?
Not sure. I was distracted by customers. Sorry.
Can you describe the man you saw?
He was carrying a lot of books. Up to his chin they were.
Never heard of a well-read assassin.
Looks can deceive. Hence the appeal of disguises. All right. You earned your shilling. That'll be all.
Thanks, Mr. Holmes. Maybe I could be your eyes and ears. If you have more shillings. Get the
Come now,
Get
Mr.
your copy
Holmes.
of the
Murder?
Strand here.
Yes, Barnes has his quirks, but he also has his scruples.
Not every pawn knows it's part of a game. Mr. Barnes, a word. Oh, for goodness sake.
Who goes there?
Sherlock Holmes. Now will you please...
Mr. Holmes. Golly, I did not see you come in.
Would you care to answer some questions for me?
Well, I wish I could, but I am deep in the weeds with work. How about we reschedule in a month or two?
Come now, Mr. Barnes. It will only take a moment.
Really deep in the weeds with important things. Well, help yourself to any book. Just take it and pay later. I trust you, Mr. Holmes.
Barnes doesn't seem like himself. Why is he acting this way?
You're asking the right questions, Doctor. Let's find a way to coax him out.
I can't hear you. Please come back later.
Barnes has always been a little odd, but this is uncharacteristic even for him.
Finest view London has to offer. An improvised stand, but it does make the flowers more visible. In the language of Mycroft's secret agents, it's a sign. Dried flowers are replaced when the job is done. I wonder who the recipient is. Basics of cryptoanalysis, cryptography in Egypt. Pierce Barnes has an interesting hobby. I could hardly imagine anything more macabre. I could hardly imagine anything more macabre. The ladder is broken, recently, judging by the freshness of the wood. The ladder is broken, recently, judging by the freshness of the wood. So, Barnes has a dog now. Who's a good boy?
We're looking for a cactus needle in a haystack. A spine in a book stack? No, come on, Watson, think. I like bookshops. One of the few spots in London where you are shunned for making a racket.
So, Barnes has a dog now. Who's a good boy?
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
So, Barnes has a dog now. Who's a good boy?
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
So, Barnes has a dog now. Who's a good boy?
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
I could hardly imagine anything more macabre. The ladder is broken, recently, judging by the freshness of the wood. The ladder is broken, recently, judging by the freshness of the wood.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
weather is dreary, isn't it? To be fair, my flowers could use the rainfall.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
Hello there. What's your name?
Lily, I know, not very original. People don't tend to come out for flowers when it rains. Perhaps I should try selling door to door. Have a look at my flowers. They will not bite, unless you touch their thorns.
Encouraging people to stop and smell the roses?
Our national emblem. God save the Queen.
Familiar spine? Is this what I found in my dustbin? The pot is damaged. The blow was severe, but softened by something. It must take patience and care to produce a bloom so beautiful.
I imagine so. I merely sell them. Anything tickle your fancy, Mr. Holmes?
My condolences, Mrs. Fleming.
Mr. Holmes?
Your husband's death. You're clearly still in mourning.
Oh, no. I loved him more than anything, of course, but that was some time ago now. Life goes on.
A lesson we all learn, one way or another.
I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes.
One of these things is not like the other.
Come again?
The cactus. Those fearsome spines can prove a devil to remove, and the sap is often toxic.
And a rose thorn can give you tetanus, but we still grow them. The cactus seems comparatively harmless, though you have me thinking it must be valuable.
I was under the impression that you knew its price already.
Your guess is as good as mine. The first time I saw this cactus was when I came back from my break. I don't know anything about this, sorry. I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes.
What do you make of the flowers in Barnes' shop window?
Well, they could use a bit of water.
Do they mean anything to you?
Mean anything how? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Holmes.
Why do you think they're there?
Are you suggesting The flowers are for me?
It seems likely, does it not?
Oh, I hope you're right.
Are you familiar with Mr. Barnes?
Yes. No, not really. Well, in a way.
What on earth does that mean?
I know who he is, of course, but we haven't shared much more than a look.
A look?
Yes. Each morning I go for a walk in the park with my dog, and most days I spot Mr. Barnes there with his new puppy, so we see each other. Actually, we once met briefly while our dogs played. He was quiet and seemed unsteady as he approached, but since then, we've never spoken. I often see him staring through the shop window. Sometimes I wonder what he thinks about that would etch such longing onto his face.
I think perhaps I have been chasing shadows.
Do not despair, Mr. Holmes. Even the best of us make mistakes. We better tell Mr. Barnes what we've learned.